SEC decides to settle with Ripple. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you guys here today. Did SEC decide to settle with Ripple? That's the weird, crazy conspiracy or reality going on right now in all of crypto Twitter and all of crypto period. You can see the pump today. We were up 10%, continuing the climb on XRP. We got a green day behind us, but here is where it all is stemming from. And you can check this out here on Twitter. Digital Investor mentions here, must watch now. I realize Eleanor Tourette and Charlie Gasparino have said this expected settlement between SEC and Ripple is false, but there's a larger point being overlooked here. This is the entire clip. One, there is no way that this is on accident. And two, this is the designed hit piece on Ripple. So we'll take a look here.
Well, the crash in Bitcoin.
Obviously, we see them talking about Bitcoin down
now below 17,000 as the saga of crypto exchange FTX explodes. The CEO Sam Bankman,
get ready. Here it comes. What we're talking about here. Big thing.
Nearly $2 billion in investor crypto.
Fox Business.
Declared
doesn't matter your political take. Just watch this.
Stories podcast host and Hard Money Show host Natalie Bernal. Natalie, it's
right here.
To see you. I got
Bitcoin slips under 17K following the FTX bankruptcy. We know that.
Bitcoin's massive sell-off. Does this FTX story have the potential to create wider losses in more assets and more traditional assets? I know you're expecting a settlement tomorrow in the lawsuit between the Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple. The SEC's filing from 2020 alleged that Ripple Labs and two of its executives raised over $1.3 billion through an unregistered digital securities offering.
So here it is, SEC versus Ripple settlement expected tomorrow. Now, this was on TV. She just said that. They just said that. They're having this conversation on the actual television, Fox Business, stating that. Now, there has been an unnamed spokesman for Ripple to come out and said this is not true. So we're going to dig on this a little more on Twitter here in a second.
This is a separate case, but your thoughts on whether any of this has the potential to take down other markets like the stock market?
Absolutely, Maria. Well, it goes to your first point. When contagion happens, it's because everything is cross-collateralized and the system at large based on credit is so fragile. So we do see Bitcoin drawing down and we can see other assets drawing down as people liquidate in order to cover cover their margins and their shorts. And so I think what's important to know about the SEC and Ripple, and it'll be interesting to see what the verdict will be, is that the SEC charged Ripple with violating securities law and argues that it passes the Howey test. It says that it's a common enterprise, an investment contract and a common enterprise. And the big thing I want people to remember, no matter what happens tomorrow, is right now you can go to Twitter or Google and you can find Ripple's CEO. And Ripple is the largest holder of its own token. Sound familiar? So if there's a CEO, if there's a company, if there's a pre-mine, a foundation, an ICO, it's not Bitcoin. And be careful trusting your life savings to a CEO.
All right. So obviously this girl, Bitcoin Maxi, totally fine. There's a lot of them out there. And it is not true any longer. If we remember, Ripple no longer holds 50% or more of XRP. They actually hold less than 50%. So they're now more decentralized than they've ever been before. So here we go. Remember, Mornings Maria has never covered ETHgate, okay? Or said, watch the entire clip. There is an intentional attempt to draw a comparison of Ripple to FTX, and not Bernal owes people an explanation. There's a huge difference between slipping and saying a settlement and what was said here. So in this article, they are saying that Ripple has agreed to settle with SEC. And we know that to be the case, that that's not going to happen, or at least Ripple has said over and over, we are going to take this to court because we're going to win this case. And over here, Mr. Whale also says, breaking earlier today, Fox News announced SEC versus Ripple expected settlement tomorrow. Sources I have spoken to close to Ripple say it is unclear if it's actually true or not. So that's not a denial. Can also be added that a spokesperson for blockchain company Ripple has denied Fox reports about Ripple reaching settlement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange. Okay, and 44 minutes ago, this is new report. Sam Bankman-Fried, released by the Nassau local police, should be on his way to the UAE now. Money is power. It's not really money is power, it's connections. Remember, we talked about this. Barbara Fried, his mom, was the attorney for Hillary Clinton. Also, we've talked about this. Sam Bankman-Fried was the #2 top donor to the Democratic Party. I'm not being political here. This is just facts. Even if he was the top donor to the Republicans, probably the same thing. But he was the #2 top donor to the Democratic Party. Another thing that I did want to point out, there's been a lot of facts coming out about this as well. So not only did FTX screw a lot of people in the crypto industry, but if you guys remember all of this humanitarian aid, we're trying to help Ukraine win this war, right? So all the Biden administration has been sending, billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. Well, come to find out, the money that Ukraine was receiving, they were actually putting it on the FTX exchange. And then in turn, the FTX exchange was sending money out to the Democratic Party. And that has been discovered. And then when more facts come out, I will show you more. Another report here, crypto.com becomes the latest bank run victim, but CEO says it's business as usual. Do you believe him? A bank run, what that means is everyone that has money on the exchange right now is taking their money out and putting it on MetaMask, Trust Wallet, or a Ledger Nano. And now, before we get into the charts, I did also find a really great thread that I read through earlier, and I wanted to share this with you because I know we have a lot of you guys out there that love crypto and you're starting to have questions, and recently you've minted your first NFT by getting the Run Pass. By the way, if you are interested in working with us, joining our team here at the Run Guys, go to the description down below. Click the link, the very first link that says find out how to make passive income with the Run Guys. And that will allow you to join our community, work with us, learn how to make passive income. And then on top of that, you get a bonus NFT for free. All you pay is the gas, which is really cool. But because of that, some people are like, well, what is this? How do I do that? And a lot of people are asking, well, I want to send my money to I want to get my money off the exchange. I want to send it to my MetaMask wallet. How do I find my transactions, so on and so forth. So I saw this thread. It was very well put together. So I wanted to bring this to you guys as well. So with the events of the past week, it's become clear that being able to read the Block Explorer, and you might be scared, this might be really daunting, you're thinking, but it's actually really simple. It is important to have the skill. Doing so will allow you to understand what's happening on chain without needing to trust anybody, because a lot of information out there, can you trust anything anymore, right? It's very scary. So here's a simple guide to how to read the Etherscan. And this is what an Etherscan transaction looks like. And all you have to do is go to Etherscan, like etherscan.io. And this is going to be like your receipt. All right. So this is a Ethereum-based receipt. Anything you do on the Ethereum blockchain will leave one of these receipts here. You can see we have a transaction hash, your receipt number, your status, success, it went through, the block number, that's the actual block. So you've heard of mining, right? Remember back in the day when Ethereum mining and Bitcoin mining, you're mining the blocks. The timestamp is exactly when it happened. From is who it was sent from, who it was sent to. The value is in Ethereum number here, and then the USD value at the time here. So in this transaction, they sent 9,500 Ethereum. That would be $11,600,000. And the transaction fee for sending that money was 41 cents. Gas price, though, there was a little bit of gas to be had there, and that was a $1,254 for gas. All right, so he says here, I'm going to break down the two common types of transactions that happen on the Ethereum blockchain: transfers of Ethereum and then transfers of ERC20 tokens. There is a difference, right? So Ethereum is the layer one, the actual token, and then ERC20 is tokens that are built on top of it. So it'd be like Shiba Inu, for example. Not sure what the ERC20 token is, read here, and we're going to skip that. You can go into, find this guy on Twitter. Remember, I've been telling you guys, crypto Twitter's got some really great stuff. You're going to want to jump on here. It's amazing. To demonstrate each transaction type, I'm going to pull an example from a recent FTX exploit. Here's the first transaction. And what's cool is every transaction has an actual link. So you could physically go look at every single transaction on Ethereum's blockchain. So this is the actual transaction. You click the link, it takes you over here. That's the one we were just showing you the picture of. That's what we're going to be having the questions of. And there's a couple snapshots here to help you check it out. So there's a couple of fields that you'll see on every ETH transaction. Transaction hash. This is the unique identifier for each transaction. You can use it as a search bar on the transaction to find the transaction hash. Status shows you whether the transaction succeeded or not. You have the block number of the transaction. You can click on the block number to see all the transactions on the given block. Timestamp is when the transaction occurred. Now let's talk about a few Ether transfers. In the examples above, we see there's a transfer from and a to. For transfers of ETH, the from is sending ETH to the to address. So in our example, we can see that FTX exchange is sending ETH to the FTX account's drained address. So from this wallet to this wallet. For ETH transfers, the value shows how much ETH was sent. In our example, we can see that their account drainer received 9,500 ETH. Etherscan allows you to toggle the USD amount by clicking on the amount. The transaction fee under is the gas cost. So here we have the value right here, 9,000 Ether for $11,900,000. And then you can see the transaction fee of 41 cents. Now you can see that value changed because 9,500 Ether changed over time before he took the original snapshot to where he took this snapshot. Below that, we have the gas-related info. It's not important to understand the specifics here. If you're just looking to see the flow of Ether tokens, just know that this section shows the gas cost breakdown, EIP 1559, and gas usage for a transaction. So we have the gas price. It's 0.000000001575 blah blah Ether, or 15.725 GWay. Ether price at that time, ETH cost $1,254.95. The gas limit and usage token was 21,000. Gas fees base 14 GWay, max 19 GWay, and they did pick max priority 1.5 GWay. Okay, so you can send it like low priority, medium priority, high priority. Burnt and transaction savings fees. This amount was burnt of actual Ethereum, 0.37, 37 cents. And then the transaction savings was 9 cents. The final section, input info, is not super important for ETH transfers either. It tells you the transaction type. Look at the EIP 1559 for more info. And the nonce, how many transactions an address has made, it also has input data, but this value should be 0x for transfers because no contract was called, because you're just transferring ETH to and from. But if you were doing like Shiba Inu, then it would be using the protocol of Shiba Inu. So other attributes, transaction type, nonce, position in the block, and then the input data. All right, so let's jump into the charts now. And as you guys remember, yesterday we talked about price needing to reclaim some levels, right? Because we were looking bearish on every single level. We were bearish on the weekly, daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30, 15, 5, 1 minute. Okay, everything was reading bearish extremely for XRP. Now, the interesting thing is, because of this massive, massive news, boom, immediate switch, right? So the immediate switch, and we talked about that, hey, it's going to be bearish for a little while unless some sort of crazy news happen. Now, if you remember also, we have these lines here. We have this line of support. Let me turn this volume off. It's in the way. Okay, so we have this line of support here, this gray line, which was the most recent local bottom, Wednesday, November 9th. Then we were talking about this here yesterday was on its way down, 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 and it had stopped right here in our 4-hour supply and demand zone, daily supply and demand zone yesterday. I went ahead and broke it down even deeper. It's a 1-hour supply and demand zone. And you can see the wick got exactly to the bottom of that and then decided to bounce back hard. So that's really, really good sign right there, okay? So boom, price comes down, hits that zone, makes its way back up. Now the other key levels that we talked about, and they're colored different colors, right? So we have this maroon color was our 5 minute at that, when we recorded this video yesterday, that was the 50 exponential moving average on the 5 minute. This purple line was the 50 exponential moving average on the 15-minute line. The blue line was the 50 exponential moving average on the 1 hour. And then we have the red line up here, which is the 50 exponential moving average on the 4-hour chart. And then all the way up here, we have the daily. So you can see that the 50 exponential moving average on the daily barely moved, but we'll break these down. So going back to why do we talk about those? We talked about them because of this indicator algorithm that I have recently started using. And it does not work on TradingView. It only works on MetaTrader 4. But what's really exciting is now XRP, because of this news, the 1 minute is fully bullish, the 5 minutes fully bullish, the 15 minutes fully bullish. And look at where we're at. We've now gotten over the 5 minute and we've gotten over the 15 minute. We have gotten over, let's go to the 1 hour. So yesterday when we talked about it, it was right here, right? So that's why we placed the blue line above the 50 exponential moving average. So right now it's the 1500 clock, boom, boom, boom. So this would be yesterday. Right here's where we recorded the video yesterday. We said we needed to get above that 50 exponential moving average and claim it as a support. That's the key. Now, good news, 14 exponential just crossed up above the 50. So that's potential bullish. Let's take a look here. 1 hour. 1 hour is getting close. Okay, so the 1 hour is extremely close to flipping bullish as well. And that's going to be like massive, massive, massive positive news, because as we stack bullish levels on top of each other, the better. Now, unfortunately, this all comes upon news that may turn out to be fake news. So we're going to continue watching this. If this is real and this case is settled, comes to an end, XRP is found to not be a security, then holy freaking schmoly. And it is possible that Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, just needs to get out. He needs to get out of this case because he has so much really, really bad situations coming his way potentially with FTX. And for those of you that are not aware, Sam Bankman-Fried went to MIT. Gary Gensler worked at MIT and he was teaching blockchain. That was his job. He was actually the professor of blockchain over at MIT. Okay, so why is that important? Well, because we also have Caroline Ellison, who's the CEO of Alameda Research, and she was also dating Sam Bankman-Fried. Her dad is Glenn Ellison, who's the professor of economics at MIT, aka the former boss of Gary Gensler. So Gary is wrapped up in this spider web of FTX, and he's also obviously wrapped up in the web of XRP in the Ripple case. So what better time than now to settle this case? In fact, the clock is running out for the case anyway. If it's not settled by tomorrow, they will be going to court. So if it settles, could be great news. Also, taking a look here, we have on our RSI, we just bounced to the positive side. We broke above the volatility band and we broke inside of the red line, turning it back to green, all in one candle. You can see what a day can do. But also let's remember here, we did have an extreme pump Thursday, November 10th, and then to have a sell-off. Okay, so I'm not getting overly excited. I am pumped that the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute has all turned bullish on my indicator. The 1 hour charts is about 3 to 4 hours away from turning bullish, which will be very exciting. The 4 hour chart, which is all the way up here, is still bearish. And so like there is still a ways to go before I can be like, this is all in, right? So me personally, and by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. Never buy anything because we talk about it on this channel. And the other thing that I always talk about is this is a massive 4 hour candle. What happens when you get a huge volume, one candle? Well, it creates a big fat fair value gap. And I'll show you here. We'll just use the 2 hours because look at all these fair value gaps that have happened on this pump today. So it's already showing us some weakness all up in here because fair value gaps are no good. The market doesn't like to leave imbalances, as they call them, right? Also on our 4 hour chart, there's probably more in the run. It looks like there's more in the run. getting up here to the overbought territory at 70, which is very, very possible. So right now it's pumping to the upside. It has lots of momentum, has lots of hype, 10% to the upside, which is absolutely incredible. Let's look at the dollar. The dollar is starting to move to the upside now. Oh my gosh, dude, I didn't even look at this. I've not looked at the dollar for a while. We may be pumping the dollar again here soon, and that is not good for crypto. When the dollar pumps, crypto crashes, stocks crash, and so on. If we look here on the daily, there's potential for a pretty massive move for the dollar. And today it had a pretty decent move to the upside, 0.5%. The new candle starts in 14 minutes. And 0.5% on the dollar is like a big deal, by the way. So we're up to 106, but look at fair value gap here, here, and here to fill. But also taking a look at that most recent extreme crash of XRP, right? So there's a big fair value gap. It could likely go and fill that. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. Good news is we're bullish on the 1, we're bullish on the 5, we're bullish on the 15-minute charts, and we are about to flip the 1-hour charts very, very soon to bullish as well. So that is very exciting there. What does that mean? Well, that means down low on these lower time frames, it's continuing to have momentum to the upside. And the higher it gets, the more likely it takes the downward momentum from that 4-hour chart away. And that's what we're hoping for. So what could we see here? Well, one thing we got to be very, very careful of right now. In the next 3 hours, if we continue pumping to the upside and we have some good volume behind it, we could then turn the hourly bullish like we talked about. However, if all of a sudden the next 3, 4, 5 hours, we have a really hardcore drop and we break below our new 50 exponential moving average, so we're going to move this to here now because that has moved there. And this is not exact, right? I'm not giving you exact, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving you numbers anyway. But when we get below the 50 exponential moving average here, if it continues to ride below this 35.3520 is where it's at right now. But remember, the moving averages are always moving because they're moving averages. If this continues to climb, once price, if it stays above the 50 exponential moving average from here on out, then the 1 hour stays bullish. If it crashes below it, we could see a cascading effect back to the downside. That is the outlook that we have right now. Now, also here on the 1 hour, if we flip to our Heikin-Ashi candles, I'm going to clear this whole chart because it's looking dirty. I like the clean charts here. So here's what we have to the upside. So right now we are getting to this supply and demand candle. You can see we got right to it. These are our 1 hour candles. So we're going to mark them in the, oh, that's not blue. Blue. That's not blue. Blue. All right. So now there's that. That is a resistance. We have to break through that resistance. Once we break that resistance, then we can get to this one. And then once we break that resistance, then we're actually in really good shape because then we can get to this level and try to break it to the upside. Like our real breakout zone, though, is here. Obviously, it's our highest candle preventing the move to go to the upside. So here's the levels, 41 cents, 40 cents, and then we have this 39, 38 cent level. These are all going to be interference zones on the way up. All right, so just keep that in mind. Right now, we're running into an interference zone. We're in a supply and demand zone on the 1 hour right now, based upon this candle. If we can keep pushing through there, great. If not, then we may be dropping back to this level here on the 1 hour supply and demand zone. There we go. And that level gets us 34 cents, 33.94. Jumping, now that we have the sections marked, we'll go to Japanese candlesticks. We can see all of that move. Now, what's interesting, watch this though. So on 1 hour, fair value gap, boom, there it is. So there is a fair value gap in our supply and demand zone. So if this comes back down, taps this, that's okay too, because it might just come back, pick up momentum, make a new higher low. We can keep that in mind. If we jump here to our 4 hours, let's say, for example, that is the peak of that candle, and that's the top of the run. And if we had a drop back down, look where the 618 is, right in that fair value gap. So if the 618, boom, price comes back to here, checks the level 34, makes the move up, totally fine. In fact, let's see. This is going to be interesting. Where did this one come to? I think it broke below, because that's a pretty deep drop there. Yeah. So you can see the wicks did come down below the 786 on this swing low to swing high on the Fibonacci. The body's got pretty close to staying right at that level before taking off to the upside. So let's swing it the other way. Let's swing from high to low. If we know that this was a high and we know that this was a low, it just got to the 7.0 line and rejecting right off of there. So usually though, right, it returns to this 786 level as the deepest return before making its way down. But right now, it did tap the 7.0, so it could have a turn down from there. But anyway, lower time frame, very bullish, exciting. Higher time frame, the 1 hour still mixed. That 4 hours bearish, daily's bearish. I'm not getting super fired up until the daily crosses to the upside. So let's go back. Let's look at our moving average exponential 50. Where's my ribbon? There it goes. So check this out. When price gets back up here, 44 cents, it could smoke high. Like it could catch fire. Because of this drop now, if it gets back up there, we could really see a nice run to the upside. All right, jumping over here to Ethereum, we're going to do the same exact thing. Now, Ethereum obviously did not have the pump that XRP did. So right now, Ethereum barely breached above the 5 minute. So here, let's go look at the 5 minute here. Okay, so on Ethereum now, we're switching over there. The 1 minute has turned bullish, which is good. The 5 minute is in a turning point right now. So if for some reason, all of a sudden, Ethereum starts crashing back down really deep, really fast, really hard, and we break below, we even have a 5 minute one here? No, we didn't. So our 5 minute one, we're going to go ahead and we'll do one here below the 50. And we did like that maroon color, remember? So see maroon here. So if right now price starts to come slamming down for whatever reason and it breaks hardcore below the 50 exponential moving average on the 5 minute, we could be bearish there and pretty deep too, unfortunately. Same thing with the 15 minute, because it actually just got to a point where it could start to trigger. So if this drops below the 50 exponential moving average, we could have a pretty deep drop for XRP or for Ethereum. Geez, talking about so much XRP today, but if Ethereum drops below the 50, breaks in these zones here, if we see it start to drop, we could continue its move to the downside. We didn't even get up to the 1 hour 50 exponential moving average, which is blue, which was ours was over here yesterday. Where'd our line go? It's weird. Not horizontal, we need vertical line. Yesterday's charts, we were right here. And that's where, see, we said we got to get back above this 50 exponential moving average, which was basically here from yesterday. And you can see that it has dropped significantly. So we can actually bring this. This is pretty interesting, right? So the 5, 15, and the 1 hour are all starting to condense in that zone. So if we do get some pretty hardcore volume to the upside for Ethereum, we could flip all of those to bullish, which is exciting. Flipping back the 4 hour though, the 4 hour one was all the way up here yesterday at 1347. Let's adjust it now. It's back down here now, about 1322. So that's not looking realistic at the moment for flipping that. And then we have our daily. Let's adjust this. Our daily is still about the same. Our daily right here at 1422. So yesterday when we were recording, we had a dip down. Then we had a nice pulse up, and then we're just kind of trading sideways in this zone. So let's check our supply and demand zones now. This is our downside 1 hour. We also had this one that we didn't really chart, but that's exactly where price came. Bam, boom, bounced off that. And then let's look at our upside one. We can get to here. And you could chart all of these little sections here, but it's just a lot of lines on the chart. So right now, price pushes up here, breaks up to here. We'll look for it to run into this level here at 1300 basically, and then we'll see if it can push its way through. That also gives us that 1321 1 hour or 4 hour 50 exponential moving average. But if it doesn't surge through with some good volume and really turn over the next 2, 3, 4 hours, then we see a continued drop back down, getting to 1100 again, and then the final dropping down here to 1144. And then we'll have to reevaluate from there. The support line is down here, this gray line at 1072. If it were to break that, the next level of support, 879. And then really, if it's possible, if the drop keeps happening, $622 for Ethereum, that's my personal opinion of where the bottom for Ethereum could be. And that's just based upon historical data going back in time. We use the daily to here. Let me zoom in on this for you so you guys see why. Okay, so there's this candle right here. It's a supply and demand candle from December 24th, the day before Christmas. Dang, dude, we had a freaking Christmas gift back then, didn't we? Look at this. So we go to sleep Christmas, waiting for Santa Claus to come on December 20th, for those of you guys that believe in Christmas. And then, boom, Christmas Day comes. Oh, wow, we get a little bullish rally starting. And then, oh, shoot, not a little bullish rally. Holy moly, we rally all the way up till... All right, Bitcoin now. Let's check Bitcoin out, see what's going on here. Bitcoin. All righty. So Bitcoin, let's go to a smaller timer. Let's look at the 1 hour. Let's go ahead and mark where we were yesterday. All right, so this is where we recorded from yesterday. It's this candle here. Same scenario, right? So we needed to get above our 15 exponential moving averages. Look like I have this one here was the 5 minute. This one's the 15. This one's the 1 hour. So we actually went up, tapped into the 1 hour, rejected off of there, came back down. By the way, if you guys are getting value from the videos, please leave me a comment down below, 777, and I would really appreciate that. We're trying to get the comments back up. We've done a really good job of eliminating a lot of the bots and the scammers that were down there. We're attacking them manually right now. We're working on our own bot to combat the bots, which will be pretty cool. But we love seeing your support down there. We really do. It really helps us. You know, we make these videos for you guys day in and day out. It takes a lot of time and effort. I really do spend hours a day in the charts, in the news, watching, trying to find some cool stuff that will get you guys excited, because there's some crazy, boring ass stuff out there in the crypto world. I try to find something that's cool and rad for you every day. So I hope that you guys are enjoying it. Hope you guys are enjoying the charting. Hope you guys are learning how to chart. By the way, I am not a financial advisor, as I said. I'm just a entertainer, educator. So I hope you guys are enjoying that. And I hope that you guys do want to come work with us. Click that link down in the description below. That is a link that goes to directly to me. You can be working with me specifically on my team, by the way. So that's really exciting as well. So Bitcoin, 1 minute chart is bullish. 5 minute chart. 5 minute chart is on the teeter-totter. 15 minute chart is bearish. We'll start there. 15 minutes, Japanese candles. If this breaks down below, if it breaks down below the 50 exponential and the 14 exponential at the same time, we could see the drop. I'm still waiting for it to drop back into this zone right here, 15,491. That's that daily supply and demand zone. So that's where we're at right now. Everything above it is bearish. So right now, boom, this is where we're at. It's bearish on the 15 minute. If this makes this drop, then it continues to be bearish. We'll go to the 1 hour. And we're going to adjust. Look at this. Look at how much this has dropped on the 1 hour. It's here now. Put it just above it. Okay. So it's at 16,611. So as you can see, look at how strong the 50 exponential moving average works. Like, so it poked over, but then it dropped off, right? And it's having trouble poking over it right now. Let's look at the 4 hour. 4 hours moved down from 18,180 to here 17,649. Let's take a look at the daily. Daily broke a little. Daily's moved down to 19,328. All right, so it's compressing, which is exciting. So crypto, we have Bitcoin and Ethereum compressing pretty darn tight. The new candle literally just started right now. As this compression happens, it's going to break one way or the other. And as we take a look, like I said, this 15 minutes chart is showing bearish. So if this does chug on down, boom, 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 we could see continued drop. And let's go ahead and find out. Now that we have new data, let's do some new charts, see what's going on here. We're going to get rid of this one. So again, you can't really chart all this chop that's right in here. That's why we have the historical charts that we're at, because we've gone to new lows. And the historical charts for Bitcoin also go way back in time. So we're looking way back here. So this level down here is super low. That was November when a nice move started. That one's 13,000. This here is November 10th as well, 15,490. Those are support levels. Look at this one down here, 11,000. This one's from back on October 17th. So where's that December 24th move? So here it is right here. So this was that Christmas move that Ethereum experienced the next day. But Bitcoin had already been outpacing Ethereum significantly back in 2020. And then boom, it made its run. Okay, so that's where that's all come back from 2020 levels. We could be dropping back to those. And some people are freaking out like, why is price coming all the way back here? We have to remember that the stimulus came out and a bunch of people pumped all their money of stimulus money into cryptos, into stocks. We had this crazy pump that was so big and so abnormal for all equities, cryptos, everything. Was really just an abnormal pump. It's coming back to settle, back to reality. And then now we'll probably get some real world pricing on the way up from here. But yeah, so as we're watching this, we're waiting for the 15-minute to continue moving up and as high as it can possibly get to hopefully flip. It's probably 4 or 5 hours away from flipping it anyway. Back to positive.